If you have been following me for some time and are aware of my videos about Sebastian Rogers, you have probably heard me mention Lauren from Facebook. That's her username on X. And now her friend Jill has made a very similar video where she compiled some interviews, some statements, and she went ahead and did so to state a theory, as she calls it. I don't like theorizing, and I say it straight up. What I am doing is not theorizing. I am letting statements guide me and with it explore possibilities. But theorizing means being stuck in something. And I've said several times that I believe Sebastian fell out of bed. He was over medicated. His body was limp. He hit his face on the floor so hard that it created a thud. And that is due to two statements that Katie Proudfoot had given at different times. She introduced first that she asked Sebastian, when she heard the thud, "Hey, Baba, did you fall out of bed?" And at another occasion, she talked about wanting to keep his name out there and his picture, and said, "I don't want his face to fall to the bottom of the feed." And the language she introduced, I believe, came from experiential memory, remembering that what had taken place. So, asked, do you still believe falling out of bed caused what happened to Sebastian? And my answer is yes, because these two statements remain the most powerful ones. So this is not me going into a theory or looking for a theory. It's simply like, out of all of the talk that's out there, all of the discussions, 99% are not about Sebastian, by the way. So please don't pretend that you care about Sebastian Rogers if all you do is, create drama. I hate the word drama. It's actually low life entertainment. That's really what it is. About court cases that are, none of this is important. And the only thing that it does is help the people who are, in my opinion, guilty to get away with it. So why has the case not been solved? Look in the mirror, baby. Look in the mirror, because you, the public, have the power to focus on what is important and hold the right people accountable. Let's hear it from Joe. Long phone call, the alibi. Yeah, I think that the long phone call is not something that unusual, because I think they have been talking on the phone quite a bit. The question is what they have been talking about. Yeah.
It's okay. Take your time. Sebastian does not have a history of running. The young man doesn't go outside very much. Never.
You see, they're telling us that the theory is absolutely ludicrous, because remember the other cases where it was similar? They never did this, except that one day when they disappear, right?
Everybody in the neighborhood knows him. He is very.
Nobody in the neighborhood knew him. People didn't even know. Many people that.
Take your time. Sebastian does not have a history of running. The young man doesn't go outside very much. Everybody in the neighborhood knows him. He is very.
What does this?
Sebastian does not have a history of running. The young man doesn't go outside very much. Everybody in the neighborhood knows him. He is very to himself, so to speak. Between the hours of 12 and 6.
Again, between the hours and 12 to between 12 and 6. They keep bringing this exact time frame in to the equation. Why? Because Katie claimed that obviously at midnight she went to sleep, and 6 a.m. was when he wasn't in his bed. So the alibi is consistently being established repetitively, but it's over presented. So when somebody tells you, okay, it must have happened between 12 and 6 because, Katie was asleep. Well, okay, noted. Then you mention it again and again and again and again, similar to Daniel Martell and Janie Mackenzie about Friday morning. The desire to imprint into the minds of the listeners that Jack and Lily must have disappeared on a Friday morning. This is to be noted, people. The over presentation of something that should have been said once or twice, when they try too hard to convince you of something, you need to look deeper and you need to recognize, okay, wait a minute. How do we know that this is a fact? And it indicates that actually it happened not within these hours. And I believe she was correct in the beginning that 10 p.m. the thud occurred. Sebastian hit his face on the bottom of the floor. His body was limp. He tossed and turned, I believe, because he was highly medicated and he had more food to eat than usual that day, even though they didn't really talk about lunch, right? And I'm getting a lot of carbs here, right? Spaghetti pancake, that's like a carb overload. And then popcorn, colossal popcorn, carb, sugar, 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 sugar. And they told us he gets overstimulated. So what do you think happens? Chris Proudfoot said, Sebastian always had sleeping issues, always. His whole life, he never could sleep unless he had a hard day of playing. He had no physical activity. He loved to run, but they didn't take him running. He loved to swim. How often did they take him swimming? What did they do? She took him with Chris Proudfoot's sisters to just hang out with a bunch of with two grown women and a bunch of little girls. What type of activity is that for a 15-year-old teenage boy? I would have not gone. When I was 15, if my mom had suggested that, we're just going to hang out with, I would be like, dude, you're on your own. I'm going to go to my friend's house and I'm going to be there all day. And you go right ahead, man, because I'm not going to do it. I probably would have I would have expressed my, how displeased I was so much that my mom would have been like, I had like a little motorbike when I was 15, right? So I wasn't really stuck with my, well, if I didn't have it, my mom probably would have said, you got money for the bus or train or something, go where you want to go. But he didn't even go bowling. He had zero physical movement and all of this sugar. So I do believe that he was really unable to sleep. And again, Chris said he always had problems sleeping, except this night. Everything was great. When I told him to go to bed, he did. Remember? This is how Katie talked. She had that little laugh. It's a form of duping delight because it was a huge issue. Sebastian did not want to go to sleep because he couldn't go to sleep. So I believe when Chris kept saying it's all on the table, that also came from memory because they later on had to pick up the sleep aid around 3 a.m. when when Sebastian was removed. The sleep aid, I believe, is exactly the weapon, if you will. And what do they remove when somebody dies or has been unalived? Usually it's the M weapon. I don't even know what I can say anymore here, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Let's get ahead.
He has basically vanished.
Vanished. He has vanished. This is a form of labeling an event, accepting the unknown as to be as something that will never be known. He has vanished. Case closed. It's a passive sort of language. What happened to him? He vanished.
Walked out of the house, the door was locked and gone.
Before it was locked?
Between the hours of, 12 and 6.
He also says between the hours of, you know.
He has basically vanished.
Mm-hmm. Basically vanished. That's also minimizing, because he knows he didn't just vanish.
Walked out of the house, the door was locked and...
Before it was locked, I thought it happened between 12 and 6. When did Katie lock it? Before it was locked. So that would mean if Katie locked it, he would have gotten out before she locked it and went to sleep, right? And by the way, this overuse of heartbreaking, I'm heartbroken. If you're truly heartbroken, you don't feel the need to say it, and you will have a hard time trying to express what's really going on in your heart. So saying this is heartbreaking is really a banality, because if your heart is really breaking, you wouldn't be able to put into words the depth of what you feel. So when people overuse heartbreaking, why do they feel the need to present themselves as a heartbroken person? This is all about self. So whenever people overuse that, expect a lack of real emotions there. It is not so different from somebody pushing for tears like Daniel Martel did. Pushing for tears, wanting to be seen as somebody who's suffering and crying. While Belinda, when she was asked about Janie's interview, you could hear in her voice how the tears came, hearing how cold-heartedly Janie, Daniel's mother, spoke about her beautiful grandchildren. Talk about them as if they were animals. And that caught her. She didn't say, I'm heartbroken. She didn't feel a need to express that. So I know how common it is. Even when I see videos, from some, garbage in, garbage out, the types of channels that really do a disservice. And it's really hard for me now to find anything about Sebastian to react to. I mean, about Sebastian, yes, and also about Jack and Lily, because the channels seem to just, there's absolutely nothing of quality out there. Nothing. And if they were quality at one point, they stopped being it. So this is also a wonderful opportunity for me to go back into the Sebastian Rogers case. But please be aware when people keep talking about being heartbroken and, see it for what it is. They want to be seen as something that they should fear, but probably are not.
He vanished. Walked out of the house, the door was locked and gone.
He didn't take the phone.
He didn't take the phone.
None of his shoes are missing.
None of his shoes are missing. That's very preemptive because they forgot to take the shoes with him. And by the time the cops showed up that morning, it was already too late. And from what I understand, Seth Rogers had to point it out, said, what's going on? All his shoes are here. What the hell do you mean? They, and again, Seth, yeah. Now they are preemptive about this. Meaning, we have to bring it up every single time before somebody says, what crock of crap is that? All his shoes are accounted for. What do you mean? So that's when Melissa Proudfoot introduced the autistic boy running out in the middle of the night without his shoes. So the autism thing, when somebody introduces this too early, and by the way, as I've said before, I believe that the behavior of Sebastian was mostly trauma-based, not autism-based. Look at Jack and Lily. The reason that they had problems in school and couldn't really learn isn't because there was chaos at home. It's because they must be autistic, right? Possible autism. It removes responsibility. And in this case, autism was used to sell a cockamamie story that a boy who's not all there in his mind allegedly just runs out of the house in the middle of the night with no shoes on. And yeah, it probably worked. That people thought, oh my God, like Barbie would say, thank God my kids are normal. So they did paint Sebastian in a light to make him, in this light, to make him appear like his mind. He wasn't all there. There's something wrong with him. So don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Don't try to understand it. Just accept it. This is what we're dealing with. We are the parents of an autistic child. We are the ones suffering. That's often the message that people like that are using to remove any type of responsibility from themselves.
Now, you told me that night that, now, Chris, you were at work. You were out of town at work, so you were not even home. Correct, ma'am. And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got up off the couch and you went to bed, and you said that was around midnight. And nothing was unusual at that point. Everything seemed okay.
Okay, I'm listening, but also trying to read this. They wanted to ensure that we know there's a digital footprint. Oh, yeah.
There's actually a piece of, so to make something very crystal clear. So,
oh my God.
That way there's transparency across the board.
Okay.
Me and the mom were on the phone at 9:43.
Me and the mom. So he uses this language to paint her as a mom. Meaning she's a good mom. He wants her to be seen in this light as a good mother who cares about her son.
We were 9:46 in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed on the phone for quite some time. The call logs have been verified by all the police departments, TBI included. We stayed on the phone. It was very lengthy. Mom did slightly start falling asleep while she was on the couch. I had said, hey, you need to wake up, put the dogs up, go to bed.
Put the dogs up. That's another thing. The dogs are put up when Chris is home, but not when he isn't there. So could that mean that Chris said, put the dogs up because I am coming? Because of what happened with the thud at 10 p.m. And again, I do not believe there's premeditation here. Let me make this crystal clear. I don't believe there's premeditation, but I do believe that both of them were so extremely sick of him that when she over-medicated him, yeah, I mean, his life, should I say it how I see it? There's a fine line. Okay, Lauren, somebody put it into the words of accidentally on purpose. It happened accidentally on purpose. And I love that because it is the best way to describe what I believe happened here. I believe Sebastian's death occurred accidentally on purpose, which is why Chris Proudfoot said the best thing about it is he managed to do this without any evidence whatsoever. Meaning, by surprise, and it forced them to act, and they gotten rid of him. They wanted to get rid of him, one way or the other, eventually. And you don't pump somebody up, pump with medication, with sleep aid, unless you really take into consideration that, yeah, I don't care if he lives or not. You know what I mean? If you cared about your son's life, you wouldn't do that. So I want to make this very, very crystal clear to all the people who try to convince me it was premeditated. No, I don't believe it. I believe you've been fooled by at night. I believe that you have bought into some BS story about green hoodie, yellow coat, and I believe you have wasted many, many hours of your time looking at something that simply isn't. But again, it's easier to fool somebody than to have somebody admit that they have been fooled. And again, I'm inviting all of you. Show me the screenshot of Katie handing something to that person at the Texas Roadhouse. And please don't say all of a sudden you have technical difficulties. All I'm asking for is a little screenshot. Is that too much to ask? Ah, you don't have it. Oh my God.
Now, mind you, that was right
Overselling.
around midnight.
Overselling midnight again. Remind you it was midnight. And that's what Jill recognized here very, very well. That is his priority. It's not so different than when somebody calls 911 and says, I just got home and found my wife dead on the floor. Priority, my alibi. I just got home. It couldn't have been me. These are simple rules of statement analysis, and they apply across the board. He is overselling from the very beginning. Despite the threat, and they talk about, oh, she kept falling asleep. Inactivity is being sold to us. Inactivity before midnight. She didn't walk around. She didn't see anything. She has deniability. She kept falling asleep. Not so. When somebody oversells a certain timeline to us, that's a very strong indicator that it didn't happen, that exact timeline, that is not when it took place.
Just before midnight or right around midnight.
Yeah.
So then mom does go to bed and...
Again, mom. Painting her as mom. Sebastian apparently said in the CPS report, it was said that Sebastian talked about his mom hating him. And children are highly intuitive, meaning you can tell them forever, no, your mom really loves you, she just doesn't know how to express it, and so on. A child knows, okay, here they sense the reaction to everything they do. They know the mom is done with him. This was just the beginning of many mentions and mensch talk about what is now known as a 3-hour phone call. Yeah, it wasn't 3 hours, right? 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that, but doesn't matter. I think that the alibi, yes, it was later. It was sort of used as, having deniability, not knowing what's going on in the house, and so on and so on and so on. Covering up what happened right after the thud. Discovering Sebastian on the floor. Everything I'm stating is my opinion only. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. So discovering him on the floor, and I believe him saying, I'll be over. I'm coming. I'll take care of it. But of course, what she will suggest in a minute is probably that somebody else came by to take care of it. But I also have to remember that audio from the ring cam. I may revisit it in a minute with you guys if I have time. And supposedly Chris was heard saying, "Is he dead?" So that's when the retention punt may come back into play. Did he take Sebastian there and finish the job? Could that be possible? Something happened at the retention punt, people. Something happened there. And it wasn't the dog tracking Sebastian's scent because he walked there, but somehow, driving slowly, who knows, they wound up at the retention punt to do something that was directly connected around 3 a.m. with getting rid of Sebastian Rogers.
Wakes up early in the morning to go wake her son up, get him ready for school.
You were not there, dipshit. Let her tell the story. That's hearsay. That's something where immediately a good moderator would say, "Katie, is it okay for you to talk about this? Because, I want to hear it from you. Chris wasn't there." So from the very beginning, he has been the one presenting her script for her.
And now we have a worried mom who can't find her son in the house.
A worried mom who can't find her son in the house. Mind you that not only he switches to present tense, he overemphasizes with saying now. Now we have. This is classic storytelling, people. This is when you tell a fairy tale and you use present tense to paint a picture in the minds of the public. Let me take you there. Now we have a worried mom who cannot find her son in the house. You see what he's doing there? And he's very good at presenting Katie's script. Katie cannot do her own script. She's like a songwriter who cannot sing his own songs, like Pete Townsend or somebody like that, right? Chris is like Roger Daltrey. Well, I'm sorry, you guys probably don't know, most of you, who the Who was, but when I was a kid, they were, they had some hits. But this is the best analogy that I can use. Chris loves to perform, and Katie hates it. They are polar opposites. Even though so they are. Even though I hate the term polar opposites because North Pole and South Pole look pretty similar to me.
Mom made an effort to look.
They can, and we're going to find Sebastian and bring him home.
Mom made an effort to look. Listen to the words. His priority is to make it sound as if she was trying to find him, but she wasn't. So he says she made an effort. Why would you feel the need to say that? Your child is missing. The least you would do is make an effort. And bring him home is a phrase that's also being overused. It means she's running out of words. It means that nothing that she says comes from her inside, from her heart. I want to hold him again. I want to see his smile. I want to laugh with him. I want him to hug me. I want him to... None of that. It's just repetitive. Bring him home, bring him home, bring him home. There's a good phrase right here. An overused phrase, a phrase that politicians use all of the time. Our soldiers, bring him home, bring him home, bring him home. It's not their children being in the war, but they want to sell something to the public. If you elect me, I'll bring him home. And that's exactly what she's doing. She's going into banalities, and Chris is talking about mom, 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 mom. 3 times he used the term mom, right? To describe her as mom. But again, as we have later learned, she was anything but a mom to him. Let's hear it.
We know the most important thing right now is to get the word out about Sebastian. What would you like our viewers to know about your son?
Sebastian, he is high-functioning autistic.
That's the priority. But let's see.
He loves animals. He loves video games. He loves fishing.
Sebastian is 5'5". He's very skinny. He has a unique way of walking. Anything that makes him stand out. That's what you want to do. That's how you want to describe your missing child if you want the public to help you find them, because otherwise they will ambush any teenage boy with glasses, which they have been doing. Remember that one neighbor woman who was offended that the cops didn't oh my God, where the boy was probably screaming, saying, "I'm not Sebastian, let me go." And yes, you are. You are Sebastian. I'm taking you in. You want to be very specific. He must have worn something in black. I'm not sure exactly which one of his shirts or what. Of course, I mean, you would know I don't know, mothers. How many clothing items did he have? Well, then again, you paid no attention to your son, right? Nothing really mattered. But you would describe him as well as possible. Anything random that comes to mind about your son, how he stands out, what may get people to recognize him. That's what I expect from you to say. That's what I expect from you to express, because you talked about it later on, how he walked. There's a certain way of walking that he had that was different than from most people. And of course, later they used all of these so-called quirks to make him appear as very strange and unlikable, especially Chris Proudfoot did. But in this particular case, you would say anything that comes to your mind about how he talks, how he looks at people, his demeanor. None of that.
You're so goofy. He's typically a very, very sweet.
And I really hated how Chris Proudfoot was goofing on him, considering what had been done about this green tea thing. And I don't think there's anything. Yeah, anyways. Or is she subconsciously telling us the reason for? Of course.
Boy, he can be quite temperamental, though, if he's overstimulated or if he's.
And that's why she told us about how much sugar intake he had that day. Overstimulated by what? Remember that footage from the Texas Roadhouse when he wanted to grab a roll, and she gave him a sign, and he immediately moved his hands away. She controlled how much he had to eat. Why? Because she didn't want him to not be able to sleep. She was done with him, and Chris Proudfoot wasn't home. And the priority for her, I believe, we saw her in the Texas Roadhouse texting with Chris. Her priority was her relationship with Chris. And the last thing that she wanted was anybody to hear Sebastian in the background. By anybody, I mean Chris Proudfoot. Because she was not going to let go of that relationship, not over Sebastian. And that's why I believe she gotten to the point where she gave him so much sleep aid that being the reason why Sebastian Rogers is now missing.
Stressed out. He has a unique run. He runs like the Naruto anime character. When he's
Finally.
How did you
How, 'cause, 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 Yeah, that's a possibility here, and we need to hear more about that. But again, I'm not going to watch somebody's 4-hour live to get to the essence of what the CPS report allegedly said, right? So, those of you who've sent me videos that are 4 hours long and say, here they're talking about the CPS, okay, give me a screenshot or give me the 2 or 3 minutes where they're talking about it. I don't waste time, people. Period. I go straight to what is important. Was he staying with family? Was he? The 3 weeks that he hadn't seen Sebastian until the 26th, mind you, watch my videos about that. He was only there, up there in Memphis, or the trailer by, where was that? Out of state, but 15 minutes away from his work. Mississippi? He didn't see, okay, he wasn't in his house, but did he visit his mommy or his sisters or anybody staying away from Sebastian, but still in the area? I don't know. Let's see.
Discipline him with, since he, how did you discipline Sebastian in general? Yeah. Well, that depends. The punishment has to fit the crime.
The crime. What crime? Leaving your backpack in the wrong place, having your shirt on the bed. What is the crime here? The punishment has to. He is in his own mind. He looks at Sebastian as a criminal. Similar to Logan comparing Jack and Lily to animals. This is not by accident. The language that we choose, especially when it comes to a missing child, is absolutely crucial and demonstrates how we feel towards somebody.
So to speak.
And he doesn't want to tell you right off the back how he punished Sebastian. What he first wants to do is paint him like a criminal who deserves to be chastised.
I'll give you an example. Cleaning the.
Look how long he pauses. This is a sensitive subject, because that's exactly what he's been in trouble for.
Room.
And let's see how he glows there. How proud he is of, well, no evidence whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. And people are going to make me sound like I'm so horrible. But I promise you, folks, you try this with your kids one time, and you won't ever have a problem with this again. So if you tell them, yeah, well, that depends. The punishment has to fit the crime, so to speak.
So to speak. No, you already said it. So by so to speak, he sort of wants to minimize it, right? Sort of wants to minimize it, because he realizes he's just overdone it by making it appear to be a crime. But we believe you the first time. You want him to look like a criminal.
I'll give you an example. Cleaning his room. Mm-hmm. And
cleaning his room.
People are going to make me sound like I'm so horrible. But I promise you, folks, you try this with your kids one time, and you won't ever have a problem with this again. So if you tell them to clean their room, and they go in there and they clean their room, well, they say, come out, well, it's clean. And you go in there and you go to check their room, and the room's not clean. Okay. Thought I told you to clean this room. You told us the room is clean, did you not?
Yeah, you see how he's imitating him? I want to be able to read this, Jill. What does it say?
Yes, sir. Okay. Now I'm going to clean your room.
I was with him Sunday afternoon shopping. Melissa Nicole Proudfoot Swenson, remember what I talked about? Remember her statement, her story about Sebastian falling asleep in the back of a car and being taken 10 miles away outside of the search radius. I was with him Sunday afternoon shopping. I took my sister and her daughter, plus my sister-in-law, that's Katie, and Sebastian shopping that afternoon. So I can tell you, so I can tell you. Just tell me if you feel the need to say, I can tell you. You are already putting yourself in a position where you feel the need to be an authority to speak on it. He was in a good mood. They were headed home to put away groceries when I last saw him Sunday. Yeah, I mean, when I last saw him Sunday. This does leave space for Monday morning, right? The early morning hours of Monday. That leaves space for that. Wouldn't you say so? He was in a good mood. They were headed home to put away groceries when I last saw him Sunday. Did you see him Monday, early morning hours of Monday? I'm not stuck in any theory, people. I'm analyzing the language. So Jill is going to probably later suggest in this video that maybe Melissa was there in the early morning hours around 3 a.m. According to this language, it would be possible. Chris, for sure. When did you last see Sebastian? Not 3 weeks, not for 3 weeks, until I came home on the 26th. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah. That is a real. Wait a minute, people. I gotta do some real quick. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Where are we at? So, this is going well, I think. Are we here? Could Katie and Sebastian have been visiting Chris at his sister's home? I don't know, man. Let's go back there.
You told us the room's clean, did you not? Well, yes, sir. Okay. Now I'm gonna clean your room.
When I last saw him Sunday. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible according to this statement, Jill. It's possible. And again, I'm not theorizing. Theorizing is not something I do. But I allow for the possibility that she was, she saw him 3 a.m. Monday morning. Let's see more.
We went and picked up our niece.
We went and picked up our niece. Yeah, but she can also mean Sebastian. We can be her and Sebastian. And then she switches to our niece, thinking about Chris, even though Chris wasn't physically necessarily there.
I got a call, and
I got a call from whom? I got a call. She's avoiding to tell you whom she got a call from. Was it Chris?
asked if I could go and pick her up, and I did.
And I did. This sounds to me like something she didn't really want to do. And I did. There was effort in that. So maybe she had different plans with Sebastian. And Chris convinced her to hang out with his family. And she calls her our niece. She includes herself there because she feels very close to Chris. So she feels like Chris's family is my family. There is unity there. Chris to her is the end all be all. Some of you have suggested that she hated Sebastian because he reminded her of Seth. Yeah, maybe. That played into it, but there was a lot more. The problem was this guy, because he didn't want Sebastian in the house. That was the reason, the main reason, that you hated your own son.
We rented that and went to BJ's.
And this is the one I was referring to. Hey everyone! Chipper. This is my nephew. He is high functioning verbal autistic. He walked out of the house in the middle of the night with his glasses. So she's telling us that she knows the glasses are not in the house. A small flashlight. So she knows that there is a flashlight missing from the house. Do you have that in your pocket? Did you take that flashlight from the house when you helped remove Sebastian? And no shoes. We know there are no shoes on him, with him, because you guys forgot him. Whoever you guys may be. Chris, maybe, let me keep the door open until it closes here. Looking at the possibility of Melissa being involved. We have been searching since 6:30 a.m. yesterday. They are searching the 10 miles around his house. Oh, the 10 miles. Don't do that. That's her message. But I'm worried. Yeah, that he may. I'm worried. Yes, you are worried about the 10 miles. See, they're searching the 10 miles around the house, but I'm worried. This worries her, the 10-mile radius. And it indicates to me that Sebastian can be found within these 10 miles. So now she's introducing a fairy tale. He may have got in back seat of a car, not in the back seat, but in back seat. So she keeps it very. She is not committed to her own story here, the way that she presents it. A car. He may have got in back seat of a car, fell asleep. Listen how she crams. Look how she crams it without actually committing. Fell asleep and woke up after someone got to their job. Someone got to their job. Singular turns into plural. And got out of their car. Which car? Immediately I'm thinking about Sebastian being transported away in a vehicle. And then she says it's possible. Remember when Malaya talked about abduction without committing to it, just trying to implant into people's minds, plant the seed. It's possible, meaning think about it. Let your mind wander there. Get lost in a stupid thought. I'm trying to think outside of the box. Oh, to help find him. Last priority, to help find him. She feels a need to insert that because she wants to take away from what her true intentions are. And her intentions are to lead people away from the 10-mile radius. Ugh, it's just so hard. You never, all about her. It's just so hard. You never know how kids think. Please keep a lookout, thanks. Please keep a lookout. No commitment there. No, look for him. Please help us look for him. Keep a lookout. Like, don't strain yourself. Thanks. Not thank you so much. We appreciate it. Please help us find Sebastian. None of that. Keep a lookout. Thanks. Aligns well with, hey everyone. Okay, thanks, I'm done. Yeah. It is so hard. You never know how kids. You see, all of a sudden she wants to appeal to mothers. You know how kids are. Oh my God, we all suffer together as mothers. Let's stick together. But the first thing she mentioned is he's different. So don't look at him through the normal lens. If it doesn't make sense, how dare you doubt us? Because he's autistic. Wants her cake and eat it too. Now, it's about how kids are. Think about your kids now. Done. This is what worries her, the 10-mile radius. And she knows about it. That also suggests that she expected it earlier. 6:30 a.m. The call wasn't made until 6:33. And we still don't know what number Chris called to alert the authorities. To get it official. Whom did she speak to? What was said? They did a good job covering this up. I'm telling you. That's why Chris is so proud. The best thing about it. Yeah, that's a good point, Jill. Everybody's go time. Hey, it's gonna happen at 6:30. Of course, Chris didn't call them until 6:33. But I do believe that Chris and Katie needed time to prepare. And they were on the phone together. 6:03 she called him. Imagine, her alarm probably went off at 6 a.m. At 6:03 she already called Chris. How long did you search for Sebastian? Katie is a panicker. Probably prone to hysteria. Fake in her interviews, soft-spoken. But we got a glimpse of how she sounded when we heard the audio where they talked to the PI. She was still in the back. Chris did the talking, but she ejected herself. I believe that the way that we hear her speak is completely different from how she usually speaks. That's why it's very hard for her to give interviews, because it takes a lot of energy to alter, to switch personas. Very difficult. Let's see.
And Melissa Proudfoot had said, "Why don't you put it in reverse and drive over her?"
What? Oh. That is what apparently was Chris Proudfoot's ex-wife, right? And I didn't listen to that before. I'm so sick of people blaming me for the actions of a 15-year-old boy who left his house in the middle of the night. Again, the first thing she wants to do is to establish an alibi. Or blaming the victim here. Before we go on, we need to have this foundation, this state of mind. You need to accept that he is the one who walked away. No, he didn't. I stopped posting anything much on social media for this reason. That is not the reason. Not that people are blaming you, but because your story doesn't add up. I stopped. Okay, I had nothing to do with anything. Okay, when somebody says I had nothing to do with the disappearance, that's more reliable than with anything, because anything is vague. What does anything mean? Did you have anything to do with driving today? Did you have anything? That is not reliable, people. If there's a certain accusation, you will get to the accusation and deny it and say, I had nothing to do with, bam, 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 1, 2, 3. This is a flag right here. And yet people want to blame and harass me. The police office, when filing the report for my mailbox, filing the report for my mailbox. What did the mailbox do? Asked if I posted it on Facebook to see if anyone knows who owns this van. And that is what I have done. Just because we are not doing what you feel you would do, okay. This is acknowledgement that their actions do not align with what is expected to do when you have a missing child and don't know where he is. Just because we are not doing, she's belittling people recognizing the obvious. It's a form of gaslighting. Accusing people of, oh, you think that you're so special, you think that you know all the answers. Well, excuse me. Just because we are not doing what you feel you would do, you feel the need to attack me on here. We don't feel the need to attack you at all. I don't feel the need, but I'm going to point out the statements and what you're really saying. We have gone out and looked in the beginning. Only in the beginning. At least you made it look like you looked. And then you got tired of it. And we have handed out flyers, posted signs, and have followed all the rules. You followed all the rules. But you see, that's it. In the beginning, there was some looking, a couple of flyers were handed out, and then that's it. And now it's a job of the FBI, TBI, and SCSO has instructed us to do. And we all have spoke to the LE, as well as granted any request that was made. This tells me that bare necessities. She wants to prove that she has done enough for you to not suspect her of knowing what happened to Sebastian, because that's what's on her mind. I know what happened and I cannot let them know. People keep acting like the police aren't doing their job. They are. No, they haven't found him yet. Are they doing their job? Yes, but it's not enough. It wouldn't be enough. If your child is missing, you're not going to say, well, they're doing their job. Seth Rogers was asked, are you satisfied with law enforcement? He said, my son is not here. This is exactly the right answer to give, because you may not want to bash police because you still want them to do more and stay in their good graces, because you don't want them to say, forget these people, no. But you express your dissatisfaction with there not being any results, and that is expected, people. Even being rude to police or saying something offensive, that's okay in this case. When your child is missing, the whole world can kiss your ass. You don't care what people think. Only thing important is the child. I'm not here to argue with anybody. Yes, you are. Same like Janie McKenzie. I'm not here to lie. Yes, you are. You just told us. You wouldn't feel the need to point it out. You are allowed to have your opinions, but you can keep them to yourself. Those are not opinions. Mine are not, well, okay, my disclaimer said it's all opinions. Sorry, I forgot. But there are thoughts, and dismissing true thoughts as opinions is also a form of gaslighting here. This is a female version of Chris Foot, people. Let's see, Jill. Right. Bum 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 bum. But they weren't. So why are you blaming yourself? Why do you think people have a reason to blame you? And I had nothing to do with anything. Tells me she had something to do with something. She played a role, some role. Is she referring to now, do damage control? Or is there more? That's when you last, okay, let's continue. I want to get through this. This is good, but I don't want to do more than... It wasn't that big of a day, right? Was it that big of a day? No physical activity, no bowling, no anything. No, I don't think it was. But he was overstimulated, I believe, well, he had a lot of energy left and he ate a lot of sugar, which, food has been a major issue. And she talks about how much he had to eat because she needs an excuse why she gave him so many pills, allegedly. Was Sebastian, that makes no sense. Was he tired? He was not tired. He wasn't tired. Come on. He didn't have any activity. He was standing around with a bunch of little girls and three grown women, and that was his Sunday. Give me a break. He wasn't tired. Was he stressed? I think there was a permanent sense of stress for him in that house because he didn't know what to expect next, right? He didn't even have his own room. He didn't have a safe space. Safe space, I think, was school for him. People talk about kids being bullied at school, but at home they have a safe space. And it was the opposite here. I believe he was all right in school, but bullied at home. But the most important part to me is when Chris talks about going into his room. He didn't even have a safe space in his own room. So I believe that added to a permanent level of stress that he had. And it wasn't a big day. Katie made it out to look like it was a big day, but it wasn't. It was a boring day. It was a very, and tired? No, he was not tired at all. At all. Did he get temperamental with Katie? Yes, as described in her interview when taken out. That's a possibility too, that the trash is a sensitive area. That she said that's his chore. Remember, that's his chore. So there is a possibility that he started getting an attitude because he was like, yeah, that's a possibility that it started there. So now my question to all of you is, should I now stop and get to part 2? I am considering this because I don't want to overload you guys. But again, let me know what you think and I'll be back. Thank you for watching.